Jets getting their first win of the season in a 39-38 barn burner against the Bengals, the Joe Flacco-led Bengals, who did not get slowed down throughout the entire day, but still lose to the Jets. Justin Fields puts on a pretty good game from Justin Fields with a couple really nice throws that we'll get into. Breece Hall had a big day, 133 rushing yards on just 18 carries, had a couple of touchdowns, including a great touchdown at the end of the game. Aaron Glenn gets his first win after. Can Woody Johnson do anything right? He can't even call out his team in the correct way. They immediately blow up in his face and put on almost a 40 burger against the Bengals. But how are you feeling about the Jets and Glenn's first win?
Yeah, it's not like Matt some of the press box option and you get like -6. It's like, -6 morale. Let's just reload the save. No. You got to deal with that. And now Woody has to deal with Justin Fields having that performance after the comments that he made about him last week, where he basically said it'd be hard to win. It'll be hard for any head coach to win with the quarterback who's playing like the way Justin Fields was, which wasn't wrong, but like, why are you saying that out loud? Right. And thankfully we got back on to video. A point where, on video. But sometimes it's a consequence in society, and we're just gonna have to keep it moving. I was a little worried at the start of this game. Man, the first quarter was not good, and I was like, are we really at a point like where this Jets offense has fallen so far where they can't even beat up like on the Bengals defense? Because the start of the year they were moving the ball, and then they hit this rut the past 2 weeks where they've been one of the worst offenses I've ever seen, to be quite frank with you. And in the first quarter, it looked like more of the same, and then they kind of blew it out the water to close out that game and score 39 points and get that first win of the season. So just to get back to a baseline where, okay, you can score in the bad defenses, which was in question, I think, coming into this game, and even in question like at the start of this game. So that was a good sign for the Jets. Justin Fields had probably his best game of the season. Jets defense, though, still got some work to do.
Oh, yeah. Both defense got plenty of work to do. This is what we kind of thought with the Jets, like the optimism about the Jets, especially on offense. And I agree with you, especially on early downs. They've been able to run the ball almost every week until this kind of little rut, like you said, especially in first and second down. They were able to get a lot of explosive runs throughout the season, which you saw again today. I mean, they put up 502 yards total offense today, 53% success rate. 19 of their 31 design runs were successful. They finished with 254 total rushing yards, 0 turnovers. There's only 1 sack in this game today, and it wasn't Justin Fields taking the sack. So no turnovers and only 1 sack, those types of rushing yards. That's a good day at the office on top of all the points and on top of the win. And the Bengals, though, like you said, the Jets defense has a lot of work to do. They had a 58% success rate on the day, 11 explosive plays, and it just felt like every time I looked up at this game, it was just like back and forth. Someone scoring, some big play, something stupid happening. But I really say that Fields had some of his nicer throws. He's one of these guys that struggle throwing over the middle in his career. And today he had a couple of real nice ones. Had a play action from under center. That was a real nice one. I thought the slot corner touchdown on Tyler Johnson was a really good throw. He had pressure in his face. And those are the type of throws I've given Fields issues in his career, where pressure's in his face. He has to put touch on it because he's such a line drive thrower. And it was a great throw. And I've always been kind of, I wouldn't say fond of, but have a soft spot for Tyler Johnson. I think he's an okay player, so it was kind of nice to see him get going. The 2-point play was an unreal effort from Fields. It put him down 6 or whatever it was, because they went for 2 after they scored, going down 14. Then Breece Hall had a passing touchdown with Mason Taylor dunking on a guy. It was just kind of like, I guess they needed some regression to good luck, or regression to good things happening because of what the season's done so far, because they've had so many stupid plays. So maybe they just all bounce back. But of course, I had to come against the Bengals, who are just like the stupid stuff magnet of a football team right now. Just nothing. Even after they felt good 10 days ago, they lose to the Jets in this type of manner. So it was, I mean, this is what I was hoping to watch out of this Jets team, but I'm just still, the defense is just, oh my God. It's just like they're going to be in these types of games every week. I mean, that's what it's going to feel like. But any other takeaways from this game? What are you feeling about the Bengals? Just kind of more of the same. Like, Flacco was fun for a little bit. He can do some things. At least their offense will be entertaining. That's kind of how I feel. Actually, both of these teams, how I feel about them. At least the offenses could be entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, The floor is high. The floor is high with as long as you got like Jamar and you can throw the ball like that. I
Yeah, T. Higgins, Chase Brown.
think if you're a Bengals fan, you're probably a little not much pressure on Justin Fields, but outside of that, this is the same Bengals stuff, just a little.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty funny with Chase finished with 19 targets, 19 targets, 91 yards, and 78 of those 91 yards were after the catch. So just spam Jamar Chase a lot and let him go to work. And that's kind of a good formula for anyone who's playing QB for the Bengals, even if they're just a morbid franchise, it feels like every week. But congrats to the Jets. Congrats to Aaron Glenn. Way to get that first one. Hopefully maybe you guys get a couple more. Actually, what is the Jets schedule before I go to the next one? Oh, they got the Browns next? Oh, no, they got a bye. Got a bye next. Then they go Browns, Patriots, Ravens, Falcons. So interesting couple slated games. All right. Now we are going to get to our next game, high number 2. And this is a game that just wrapped up before we started the show. That is the Broncos stomp the Cowboys to get to 6-2. Basically doubled the score of the Cowboys. We saw Joe Milton in there. That's all you need to know about the Cowboys day at the office. Broncos win 44-24. Kind of what we predicted in this game. Cowboys offense able to move the ball. Defense wasn't able to do anything at all. The Broncos offense just took them to the woodshed. They were able to do whatever they want. I mean, pick a stat. And it was a big stat for the Broncos, like 60% passing success rate, nearly 50% rushing success rate, whole bunch of explosives. Pat Bryant got going. Bo Nix had a couple nice throws, I thought, especially in the red zone. Run game was able to get going. Troy Franklin got going, but I thought the Pat Bryant stuff was interesting because last week against the Giants, they were really trying to get him some scores in the red zone, but the play just kept getting blown up. So him getting a score was like, they like him. There's something interesting about him, and I like Pat Bryant, but it was just whatever the Broncos wanted to do. Dak finished with 2 picks for the Cowboys. They kind of just kept stalling out, going against a real feisty Broncos defense, of course, one of the best in the game. What were some of your takeaways with this Broncos win, Chuck?
I think it just showed like for where the Cowboys are this season. Because I thought there were moments where Dak played pretty well. I mean, defense again, but you throw 2 picks when your defense is this bad against a good offense. And then it got so fast. It felt like I blinked and they were down like 37-17, and it was over. So I think these teams are probably in 2 different tiers. Did think the Broncos would win this game. Didn't think any points, but again, that's just kind of the life you're living when your defense is right. They don't cover well. They don't defend the run well. It's just you're just really fighting for your life every week, and good teams are going to be able to exploit that, and that's what happened again this week.
I kind of felt like that was like, I mean, when we were previewing the show, I was like, I feel like Sean Payton's just licking his chops because it's just like a very predictable defense. Like even just the most basic kind of plays were just going for big gains, like the very spammy plays, like bubbles were going for first downs, just like the cheapies were just going for good gains. And that's like, yeah. So if you're those, why do anything difficult? And then like Bo Nix didn't feel pressured at all. So he was able to just dial up and then hit whatever he wanted. The run game was able to pop off some plays. They finished with 10 explosive plays, a bunch of RJ Harvey stuff kind of going left outside. But really it was just this Cowboys team. It's just like you said, you can't have any turnovers if your defense is going to play like that. And it just kind of feels like, oh yeah, the Broncos are like, I think everybody's in lockstep with what the Broncos are. It's like, this is for sure a playoff team. It's just whether they can make a run and based on what the offense is. And this is encouraging that it's like, okay, going against, pretty porous defense, you're able to kind of find your way, not making any stupid mistakes, actually able to put sustained drives, able to hit explosives, able to do something in the flow of the offense. But no, it was, I thought just like a very encouraging day. 44 points is the most that the Broncos have scored since Sean Payton took over as the Broncos head coach a couple of years ago. So again, very, very encouraging performance. And I don't know, with the Cowboys, it was just kind of like, yeah, this is what their team is. It's like, unless the offense can win in a track meet, that's what they're going to play like. They go Cardinals, they got Raiders. They don't have like the hard schedule. Then they got Eagles, which will be a really interesting game. That'll be their second time playing each other. Chiefs, Lions, Vikings. So they got some really interesting games coming up. While the Broncos, they kind of, Texans. Ooh, that's a fun one. Texans, Raiders. They got Chiefs as well. but they're right in it. I just feel like this team is just, this is a very good playoff team. It's just figuring out what the offense is, but they beat a bad unit. That's encouraging. That's what you want to say and what you want to see out of the team. So any other more takeaways from this game for you, Chuck?
Uh, Not really. I think went on. It's just
it's kind of expected, right? I don't know. Not to sound like it. I didn't think it was going to be a total blowout, but I was like, all right, I feel like the Broncos should win this over the 4 quarters because their defense is so good and their offense is better than the Cowboys defense. Remember we talked about, I was like, of the 4 units, Cowboys defense is the worst unit by far. So it's pretty easy to pick the Broncos. All right. We'll move on to high number 3. And this is a different AFC game, AFC team showing a lot of life, an offense that's been lethargic at times. But, I mean, especially last week going against Seattle, it was very lethargic. But the Texans offense showed some life. Texans win 26-15. It was not all perfect. Their run game still is garbage. But I thought the passing game really got going. Stroud finished with a 52% success rate, 318 yards, 30 of 39, and 88 QBR, 88.3 to be exact. 8 different Texans receivers or pass catchers had multiple receptions. Xavier Hutchinson finished with 69 yards and a touchdown. Jalen Noel got going, which was something me and Matt Harmon been screaming about for weeks. Jaden Higgins had a touchdown on a great design. Stroud had a couple scrambles for first downs. He had 16 passing first downs. I thought this was an encouraging performance from the Texans. I mean, 49ers defense without Fred Warner is not great. Without Nick Bosa is not great. And you kind of felt that today. Stroud went 18-19 for 270 yards and 2 touchdowns between the numbers. But any encouraging things, any other positive signs from this Texas offense for you, Chuck, what you saw today?
Well, they looked like an offense. That's a good start.
Right. They looked like an NFL offense. Yay!
The bar had fallen so low that I think you kind of forget sometimes there are good players on this in a spot like this where like you really had to have this win if you want to keep your season alive. I thought CJ Stroud had his best game in a while, maybe at least like statistically. People should get concerned about him. Like, man, you're starting to take a lot of hits. You are starting to play hero ball, and I understand like how you get there, but you start to develop bad habits. And to see him just kind of have a really strong, good game today, I think was a good start. Would be a little concerned if I was a 49ers fan about how today went with their defense. But as the Ravens showed, you can have a terrible game against the Texans and still bounce back and keep your season alive. So I think moving forward for the Texans, this is a nice game to build on, but we're looking at a 49ers defense that's pretty banged up, but at least they were able to kind of get this one across the finish line when just a week ago they played one of the worst games that I can remember on offense.
Yeah, it wasn't there's no embarrassment where I was like, oh my God, what is this? Where there's actual drives and there's explosive plays and a pocket was formed for Stroud at times, which is just, I know it sounds like we're kidding, but if you watch this Texas offense, like they had moments against the Ravens a few weeks ago against a battered Ravens defense, but really every other week it's just been so like frustrating. Their use of personnel has been frustrating. Nico Collins was out today too, which is like even more astounding that they're able to do this. But that's why I think it's been frustrating, was because they weren't playing these young receivers and giving them shots. They're playing Braxton Berrios, who still was playing today. They're playing Christian Kirk over Jalen Noel. And I also thought, I thought I wanted to see more 3 wide receiver sets for them. But what I thought was really interesting today was they used a lot of 6 offensive linemen, jumbo sets, 25 plays, which is, I think, the most the team has used this season. I was looking up in True Media. But they threw the ball 6 times out of those. They had 4 successful, but they averaged 20 yards per play, or per pass, I'm sorry, when they were in jumbo sets today, which I thought was cool. And really jumbo around the league. There's been a bunch of jumbo. We'll talk about the Dolphins game later in a negative sense for the other team. Eagles are doing it a bunch. Yeah, but no, just, a lot of jumbo usage. And that's it. It's like the run game still stunk. Like, don't get me wrong, for the Texans. But the fact that it was like, all right, at least Stroud doesn't look not terrified, but look like he's like going to get crushed every play, or at least he's straining to even complete a pass that's down the field because he's either getting hit or just something as bad is happening. The run game still went 8 of 32 for how many were successful. The 49ers only had 8 runs this entire game, 8 designed runs. which is, I mean, gotta be one of the lowest Shanahan's ever had. So also shout out to the Texas defense. But how are you feeling overall about the Texas team? Are you think that they can make a little run here? I think the AFC is pretty wide open.
Sure, to get to the wild card. I mean, that I think that's always kind of been on the table just because their defense is so good. But now
Yeah.
you have just credibility that the offense can do something. So I think that was encouraging. It was probably pretty good for Nick Haley for him to have this game because I know that
Yeah.
the heat has been turned up for him, and that offense has been really underperforming. But as long as the defense is still good, and you can just get enough like hero ball from CJ Stroud to kind of pull you across, I think they still have a chance to make the playoffs. Like you said, the AFC is wide open.
Yeah, I think you summed it up perfect. Defense is going to keep them in every single game. The defense is amazing. This defense is top 4, like locked in, and can rush the passer and play man coverage. It's just, and I thought the real nice positives of my last little, how I kind of sum it up, or just take one little takeaway, is that the Higgins touchdown, the Hutchinson touchdown were kind of cool designs on third down and a cool red zone design on both of them. And that's what's encouraging, was like, all right, you guys aren't going to be the most sustainable offense, like even on your good days, but when you get your chances, make the most of them. So that's what it was like. All right, at least you guys can do this against a Fred Warner-less defense that really can't cover anything over the middle of the field. At least you're able to do it, which is way better than what they have shown in previous weeks. Playing the Broncos next week, which will be a much stiffer test, but I think that'll be a huge. I mean, that's just gonna be a fist fight. I'm sure we'll preview it, but that's just gonna be a lot of punches in the nose. I think both offenses are going to take in that game.
Yeah.